Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Cabral, founder of the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. Excited to get into something that our community, and you've probably looked into it yourself, has been asking about for quite some time, and that is a very specific board certification that is being uplifted in the overall health coaching-based industry, and it is called the National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach Certification. So it's essentially the NBC-HWC. And what that stands for is it's the National Board Certification for Health and Wellness Coaches. This is something that we've been looking into for about a year and a half. It started to grow now over that year and a half, and it is something that we wanted to explore. There's been a lot of questions as to what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, and if it's right for you or not, because it may not be right for everyone. So what I want to do is share all of the insides and outs about this certification and if it is the right fit for you, or maybe it isn't. Let's dive right into it now. So this program was created a few years back and has started to gather traction for those that want to pursue a national board certification. And what the certification course essentially does is it gets you ready to sit for a board certification. So whenever you take this course, we'll call it a course, not a certification, you prepare for it. It's a minimum of 75 hours. Typically, it's anywhere from 4 hours to 10 hours a week for anywhere from 12 weeks to 6 months to about 20 weeks. There's all sorts of different programs. And we can talk about that as well. So the board certification, the course itself doesn't necessarily guarantee you'll be certified, but it gives you all the information, and it is actually a prerequisite for sitting for the boards. So that's really important. It's kind of like a degree that kind of gets you ready to then take the board certification. All right, so what it does is it enables a standard across the industry. That part I'm okay with, meaning like it is good to say that if someone hires an physical therapist, they've all gone through a certain licensing, right? Or if you hire a NASM certified personal trainer, they have to have at least some basis for this particular personal training certification versus an ACSM certified personal trainer. That's a very different personal trainer than a NASM, not wildly different, but definitely different, and very different from an NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association personal trainer. I've gone through all of them. They're all excellent curriculum, and it is a nice thing to know for employers. So put a little pin in that for employers, because we're going to talk about that in just a couple moments. So what this curriculum does is it doesn't focus on nutritional supplements. It doesn't focus on diet. It doesn't focus on exercise. It doesn't focus on all individualized plans. So if you've already gone through IHP, you say, okay, well, we're all about bioindividuality, right? We're all about the specific diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and success mindset that every client needs. Okay, well, what is this then? This is all about utilizing behavioral-based change and accountability. So it enables you to look at how to work with a client as a health coach to lead them from whatever they have right now to their goals. So it's facilitation of working with your knowledge base in order to help people implement overall general health recommendations, but not specific nutrition, exercise, or supplementation guidelines. So I just want to make that note there. So this program, which we're going to talk about in a moment, is not a replacement for the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, because what we're doing is we're teaching specifics and we're teaching labs. The specific diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, I won't go through the whole thing, right? Plus labs is unique to IHP. We're the only ones in the world that do that as a complete practice. However, this board certification is going to be something that oftentimes a lot of functional medicine centers, physical therapists, and psychiatrists may be looking for a health coach. So when they say, okay, I'm going to hire someone with this NBC-HWC recognized board certification, they can say, got it. This health coach has met this particular standard for the industry, and they uphold this certification. They took a board exam to say, I know what I need to know for the foundation to be able to help clients inside of a functional medicine or wellness concierge type practice. So I found that to be pretty interesting. And I'm going to link up their scope of practice as well. It actually shares on their page that coaches will assist clients to use their own insight, personal strengths, and resources to set goals, commit to action steps, and establish accountability in building an envisioned healthy lifestyle. In this way, coaches empower clients through encouragement, exploration, the mobilization of internal strengths, the identification and utilization of external resources, and through the support and development of self-management strategies for executing sustainable, healthy lifestyle changes. Okay, it goes on to say that the coach's role is one of the accountability partner, not director, in navigating behavioral change and exploring opportunities for growth and development. As facilitators of the behavior change process, health and wellness coaches support clients to achieve self-directed goals and behavioral changes consistent with the client's vision for health and well-being, informed by any treatment plans prescribed by the client's professional healthcare team. So going back to, if you're working in a practice under a doctor's supervision, you'd be able to implement the guidelines by that doctor or nurse practitioner, physical therapist, a psychiatrist. They actually state those individuals. When appropriate, health and wellness coaches may offer evidence-based resources or information from nationally recognized authorities. Additionally, when working under the license of a qualified medical or allied health professional, a physician, psychologist, physical therapist, for example, health and wellness coaches may support the implementation of those professional treatment plans. On their own, however, coaches do not diagnose, interpret medical data, prescribe or deprescribe. That means tell a patient or client they have to come off a treatment plan given by a doctor or medication. Of course, nobody would do that, right? That's not a good idea. Recommend supplements, so you don't do that. Provide nutrition consultation or create meal plans. Provide exercise prescription or instruction. Consult and advise, or provide psychological, therapeutic interventions or treatment. And by that, they say you should not use cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, solution-focused therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, also known as DBT, internal family systems therapy, and other such therapies and treatments relevant to the treatment of diagnosed medical and mental health conditions. I won't go on, but I can link up this specific page. But essentially, I've read through everything. We understand this. We've actually looked at this process now in depth and spoken with the board certification for over 6 months. What we've decided is that this may be a great avenue for those coaches, those IHPs, already with at least level 1, to be able to look to be hired by a functional medicine office, a physician that has a concierge-based practice, a physical therapist, a, licensed maybe esthetician, or a licensed nurse practitioner, or a licensed individual that they would then work under. So at IHP, we feel that this actual board certification, although it does not teach you any of the material in level 1, or the material in level 2, 3, HPH, etc., or even mastery, it does allow those individuals looking for the recognition to be able to be hired by outside wellness practices, which are only continuing to grow, and have that designation. And then not only do they have that designation, they also have the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute certification, which enables them a higher level of competency, meaning like for client. And I want to share with you, again, the exact scope of practice. It says that health and wellness coaches who hold additional active national or state recognized credentials may provide expert support and guidance within their professional scope for that credential. However, disclosure of the professional role and potential conflicts of interest must be discussed with the client and documented from the onset of a professional relationship. Health and wellness coaches should only function in dual roles with conscious intention and by clearly outlining both professional capabilities through discussion and documentation, as well as defining the boundaries of each. Further, health and wellness coaches must be well-versed in the professional capacity of each role, including the limits of knowledge and skills respective to each role, understanding and demonstrate how to work within the limits of each professional role and comply with all guided and ethical principles to ensure client interests and needs are at the forefront of coach-client partnership. Okay, so how I read this is this. When you'd be working with a client, if you are a IHP level 1, level 2, level 3, HPH, what you would do is during their signing of the liability waivers and exactly what you do, you would say, I'm able to work with you in the capacity of a board certified health and wellness coach through the NBC-HWC program. And I'm able to work with you through functional medicine, integrative health at home lab testing through the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute national certification. And so you would just have to share the dual path as to how you're able to work with them. I do believe that the lab coaching is what sets IHPs apart from the 100,000 other health coaches out there. It's a big differentiator. And I would say namely because if you aren't lab testing, it is really difficult to even know what your client needs to heal. If they're dealing with bloating or gas or distension, is it low stomach acid? Is it from stress? Is it from food sensitivities, candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, H. pylori, parasites, or an inflammatory immune-based issue, and potentially even mold mycotoxins? I just named about 8 or 9 things right there. There are additional. The only way that you'd be able to ascertain that information is through something like the Big 3 gut bundle: stool test, candida metabolic and vitamins test, food sensitivity test. All of those are taught in the IHP level 2. So what I would say is this, is that beginning now, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute is going to offer this course to become board certified. And we're going to offer it at the lowest possible price and for the minimum amount of hours. And here's why. We want you to be able to get board certified if you choose to. And we know that you've already made the commitment to become an even higher level practitioner through the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. So what we want is for those people that are looking to potentially be hired by outside functional medicine, integrative health, concierge-based practices, that you have this opportunity. And we know you've already made the investment into IHPI. And so what we want to do is be able to ensure that you get the best of all worlds. If you want this board certification, amazing. We are going to deliver the absolute best curriculum. It is a minimum of 75 hours. You know that in all of our IHP certifications, we always give more. So there's always more bonus material. There's always more for you to be able to do. But we know that you've already done at least IHP level 1 because that's the minimum prerequisite. We just feel ethically, morally, I need people to have level 1 of IHP. I need that. It's very important to me that someone can bio-individualize a program. Now, if they don't want to use that because they're just using the NBC-HWC, totally understand. But for their basis and for my commitment and my mission to this industry, I have to do that. So I will not compromise on that. But the 75 hours is amazing because that is going to be about 60 hours live workshops. It's going to include the 15 hours of videos. That's the minimum. And it includes 3 30-minute one-on-ones with the IHP faculty to take you through the mock case studies. And then all of this, when complete, and you'll be able to finish this about a 3 to 4 month time frame, faster than any other certification company out there, that will allow you then to sit for the boards. So we're very actually excited to be able to offer this. At IHP, I don't do anything, and that includes all of my companies, very rashly, based on what people are talking about and what's being hyped up. My goal is to try to provide the very best curriculum in the world and things that I never have to go back and say, oh, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't say that. That never happens. It does not happen. I can look back and say, I didn't change my mind on anything. I've upgraded things. I've brought new research, new information. Of course, we do that every single month inside of High Performance Health. And I do a daily podcast to try to update the world as well. But I never have to retract. I never have to say, oh, I was recommending the carnivore diet or the keto diet or whatever it is when it became popular. I don't ever have to now retract that, right? I can say, oh, well, there's a time and place to do certain things. Okay. But what is the greatest good for the greatest amount of people? I now believe as to where we are in an industry, this is what a lot of people are going to be looking for. And my responsibility with over 5,500 plus IHPs is now it's time to be able to offer this in the best way possible for the best price possible for our community. So if you want to check out more about this, we will link it up today at ihp.coach/444. That's today's podcast. You can always email us anytime at support@ihp.coach, or of course, just write in the Facebook group. We are always there to answer your questions. You know that. But again, head on over to ihp.coach/444. It'll be on the website. It is going to be called IHP Plus. The plus stands for the board certification. So when you become certified, you'll be IHP Plus, IHP 2 Plus, IHP 3 Plus. So you'll just add a plus to the end of whatever it might be. IHP M Plus, right? IHP 3M Plus, that would be the highest that you can get. And then you would add on HPH if you chose to. So it is our job to always bring you the best of the industry. It's not something that I ever foresaw 2-3 years ago, but it's here. It is being recognized and it is being adopted. And so I need to make sure that our community is always at the forefront. Hopefully this was helpful. I always love hearing your comments, your questions. We are here to help. Take care. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk with you soon.